D4, awaiting our opponent's decision. Knight F6. We're gonna keep it classical with C4 as opposed to, you know, these filthy system players. Couldn't be me. Interesting. Opponent's spending a lot of time here. I don't really know why. I'm starting to wonder if I have disconnected. Does that happen to you? Whenever my opponent's just not moving, I'm like, well, there's no way. Like, I have to be disconnected here. Oh, Macho BDC, the Queen's Gambit accepted. Happens a lot at the beginning of this speed run. Believe me, you will definitely know by now if you watch the earlier episodes on YouTube. What's occurring here? This is a really strange opponent. 2300. Guy's just, I don't know. It's like he's not here. Okay. Like this system, I guess you could call it. Put a knight on E3. Often knight G3 is a pretty good move next as well. And the bishop sits pretty nicely here, so kind of have to go there. Now we want to put this knight here. Maybe we're thinking about G4 as well. That's why that move makes a lot of sense. And we have the B4 push. So yeah, I always like this system of bishop D3. So he might want to put the knight here. That doesn't really bother us though, so I'm not too concerned by it. Okay, so where do we want our pieces? We could maybe entertain this. Okay, he's not putting the knight there. That frees up the rest of our pieces. I think we just want to play C5. But he spent a minute and a half at the beginning, so he's obviously going to lose here. It's just a question of when. Just not a very interesting game. Like, just don't really understand the what's the purpose of this game here? Okay. Very, very strange. I mean, he basically wasted a minute 40 seconds at the start. I have a minute 40 seconds extra at the end. Shocker. Shocker. Even though that was a zoomy kind of game, I will say we get to see once again a system that I like to play against the King's Indian. Wouldn't say it's my main system, but it's an easy one. It looks like this. And then no matter which pawn gets pushed, you always close the center. It looks weird. But our plan to handle this is always to capture it and immediately play f4. So they never get to play f4 against us. Yes, we have to deal with e4, but you can see the squares that your pieces get to. You autopilot. Bishop e3, bishop d4, queen d2, knight d1, knight e3. Bishop's on a great square ready to trade. Knight's blockading the pawn and hitting the f5 pawn. And the position is very, very nice. You have an expansion with b4 there. Sometimes you have an expansion with g4. And you have pressure against this guy. Nope. Okay. Maybe playing against the London. No, let's play against the Queen's Gambit. And you know what? I'll take it. Make it a Queen's Gambit accepted. Someone asked about this opening, so... let's try to go here. Even if e4, let's go here. So that move makes a bit more sense. Now, do we take the ultra greedy approach? We shouldn't. I think we just go for c5 here or something. Might play e4. Let's see. Yeah, I was gonna say, let's see if he plays e5 or e3 or e4. c5. I think he'll probably take it. And now... knight here, knight here. It's kind of similar. Here, e5. Not the best. I wonder if this is fine. Take these double pawns. Sometimes these can be okay. A very packed c-file. I'm not sure it's in our favor. Rook d8 next, trades a few pieces. And at the moment, the queen cannot venture out on that diagonal. Queen here, so we can see the intention. That is clear. Maybe knight there and queen out. We have queen f4. We also have knight e5. At h4, I'm kind of expecting. I suppose we have to watch out for bishop a6 at the end of variations. I'll give you that. That's annoying. Let's trade one pair of rooks. A nice endgame for the boys here. Here, 94. Knight e4 is not too pleasant. I guess maybe you could go there, but probably put this queen here for now. What? Seems weird. Huh. Okay, so we're definitely gonna have to queen here. Have to work for these draws. Queen's Gambit accepted. Seemed just like about equal. I liked my position a little bit more out of the opening, like here, but I don't think we followed up in a good way. I liked knight c6 less and less the more I analyzed after we played it. Like, I liked my position here, but as soon as I played this, I was like, I probably need some very specific follow-up because I didn't really like e5 happening. Okay, here I like my position again. e5, I guess f5's the idea, but I wanted to simplify, being a bit lower on time. He played well. Dr. Frankenstein. Yeah, very even opening. Not sure what to make of that. Queen's Gambit accepted. Usually works really well as long as you don't work too hard to keep this pawn. Like if you, I don't know, if you like lose your mind trying to defend it, you can get a pretty bad position, but yeah, if you just let it be recaptured, play c5. More or less just equal. Okay. We have d4. Grunfeld, King's Indian. Nope, King's Indian, of course. We've played this a few times, haven't we? What did I say? Takes, f4. We've seen exactly this. We want to play bishop here. And then put this knight to e3. I think we probably want to take this, but it's an interesting move. It definitely makes me consider moving the piece back. Let's capture though. Yeah, rook to d1. Should be some good pressure here. Queen e7. This move will force queen d7. We've seen this idea before. And yes, there's bishop takes in knight h5, but I don't know that that's good enough. I'll do it. It kind of feels correct. Takes, queen takes d6. Give that a try. Knight takes f5 is a, well, I was going to say a serious threat, but apparently not. Depends on who you ask. Queen g5, knight e5 just loses. Well, actually, loses the queen as well, but everything would be winning here. GG. Yeah, this King's Indian line I'm a fan of. It's just easy to explain, easy to understand. Takes f4, and then you kind of know your next. Like I just played the exact same moves as previous. And you have like this target, that target. By the time you needed to think of a different move than the previous game we had like this, we were already winning. So that's nice. Okay, we got an FM here. This will be a good game. No d4, d5. As you can see, it's very scarce at the high level, but some people want to avoid specific lines, so maybe they use this to get back into it, but we are playing a Nimzo here. No Queen's Gambit for us. It is so common at low elo and so uncommon higher up. Okay, so obviously we're not in the Queen's Gambit here. We're definitely playing something similar, but it's not the same. It is pinned, so no trickery here. Knight c6 is nice. I think I'm happy to see that move. Let's get castled e5. We have e4 and d5, which I assume is good. This check. We can go here. Queen b6. Maybe bishop e3. I don't know. Okay. Goes here. h3, bishop b2, or bishop e3, but something looks good about bishop b2. The rooks probably belong here, and then d5 is a nice break in the position we can utilize. Like even here, you can sometimes go for this because it really ruins the pawn structure over there. Rook c5 is a pretty strong idea, I think. That's why we see this move. I'll play this. I think if knight b3, I'd even consider rook d1 and just not trade. Rook e1, rook d1. Interesting. Well, I don't think we want to have a lot of trades happen here, so it's kind of forcing my hand. We'll use our d5 move that we've been talking about. Just because doubling the pawns in front of the king that's pretty serious. If we can do that, that should help us out a lot. But I'm also doing this because I didn't really want to, trade, go into that position. And you definitely check for other tricky moves, but don't see any. Take this, and I would say we have pretty decent compensation just based on that. Question is, like, how do we actually make the pieces work here? don't know if I would prefer white or black here. Black is maybe a little bit better, but in a blitz game, I would take white. We have check and knight f5. I'm going to throw this in. Can't even do that, eh? You know, I just hate jumping into flag mode against titled players. It always feels like you gotta, I don't know, you gotta do it over the board. We tried a little bit, but ultimately, yeah, I do think that white is always preferred in these positions. We're definitely better here, but this was not the way to do it. Yeah, didn't quite get a Queen's Gambit. I played this position a few times before. I think it's normally pretty good for white. You don't realize it, but the a3 pawn is actually the glue to the entire position. Stopping knight b4 is so key. It allows you to play bishop d3 and e4, and white's just much better here. Yeah, okay, we were right. White is a little bit better here, and this is exactly how you're supposed to play. So that's reassuring, at least. But yeah, we kind of lost our way here in the final moments. A d4 game, but not a Queen's Gambit. As you can see, it's pretty much disappeared entirely after 2200. It'll appear again like here and there, but in terms of like normal popularity, it's gone. All right, we have one here. I think we will be back to the Slav here, and we are. Normally black gets the bishop out to one of those two squares. There we go. And if e6, knight h4, we're pretty much in the main, I would say the main line. Okay, so he's doing the real simple variation where you just say, okay, you know, hands up, you got me. You can have my bishop. That's really easy for us to navigate. Start with this, see what he wants to do. We can take this bishop on g6 at any point, really. That doesn't feel like a... I'm very confused by that move. He basically is saying, I don't care, to this rook here. And I feel like you should care. I think we're losing some material. We're losing some stuff here. Something's going wrong. There's bishop b4. Let's get this move out of the way. There's queen c6, but bishop b4 comes to mind. Okay, there's queen b8 against that, but at least it does trade the queens. Queen takes c6 looks like a Fantastic move. All I know is we're definitely going to end up ahead some good material here. Rook takes c6. The queen doesn't have many squares. We are going to be in a pretty good spot, mainly because this I assumed was pretty good, although there's queen e4. Just have to assume that it can't work, but yeah, I suppose. On the other hand, maybe it can. Interesting that he doesn't throw the check in. I would have certainly done the check. Like, just to start. As an appetizer. I guess there's rook there. We'll abandon our b pawn here rather than move our king, I think. I don't like that move by him at all. We get some trades. Okay, yeah, this is just bad. I think we can just kind of put everything over here. Fair enough. Wasn't familiar with your game. I saw a bunch of nonsense moves on this side of the board. Wasn't familiar with your game, sir. Thank God I'm not familiar with that game. That's the only reason we're staying ahead here. I just hung literally everything. Well, it was a Queen's Gambit. We've seen this line a few times, and as always, knight h4 is the way to handle it. Can't let anybody against your Queen's Gambit play bishop out and just exist normally. Like, if we just play bishop e2 castle, that's no good. Black's gonna get a great position. But I expected him to do something about this, because clearly we had some intentions, some threats, but he just walked into everything. What we would do if we saw this is we'd probably play bishop e2, castle, take, castle ourselves. A little bit better, slightly better. All right, d4 with a username like this, people are staying away from the Queen's Gambit, and I don't blame them. All right, we're getting a lot of King's Indians, so this setup is probably reasonably familiar to you. E5, we push. Kind of expecting this, so just moving back preemptively. Yeah, everything you're seeing here, you've seen before, right? No secrets. B3, A3, B4. I think we can probably play this move soon. Not quite though. I feel like H5, I want to play H4. One thing I don't like is when the pawn goes to H4 with my pawns like that. King H2. He's just gonna go back. That's fine. Queen F7 would make sense here, but he's gonna take. Got A3, B4. I always like playing white here because it just feels like we have a bit more to do. Black doesn't usually want to play those moves. Gonna go bishop d1. Yes, he can put a knight here, but as always, we can just take it. And this knight, maybe we can put on d4. Yes, we want to play bishop here to hit this pawn, but we just have to be careful. We do allow knight d3 there temporarily. Now, the important question, can we play this? I think so. Takes rook a3, we can take on c5. We can do something like this. Also bishop d1, but bishop d1 will actually force him to play a decent move. What I want is this knight here. Not the easiest to achieve, so maybe this knight and then this knight to e3 could happen. This could be just a mistake. Of course, f5 is just hanging there, but I was so caught up on knight d5, b6. This would be much simpler. Point is that black's position usually falls apart at some point. We have knight c7, so and a nice easy game. This system strikes again. Black just doesn't have a lot to do, honestly. Hey, Brando. GG. I have to say, I really think we blundered with the username. I didn't realize this would cause such a revolt. Like, having the username the Queen's Gambit. Nobody's playing the Queen's Gambit against us. Not a soul. Not a soul. It's really unfortunate. We haven't had we've had like 1 or 2 games in the last 150 points. All right, we're playing an IM. Maybe a nice professional d5 game, huh? From an international master. Maybe e6, d5, transposing. Professional, avoiding some variations, getting back to the basics here. Yep. d5. Damn it. Tried to speak it into existence. We're never going to see d5 again, I think. We're done. d5 is, it's the end of the road for d5. Get ourselves castled and then try to pick this pawn up later. Easier said than done. I think we just leave that there. I don't care about that. Yeah, this pawn structure should be very good against these pieces. Yeah, this position looks pretty good. Queen f6, bishop somewhere. How's bishop here? We get checked. Have to deal with that line. Yeah, so probably this then. This one is also loose, but I'm not sure we're gonna have time to take it. Bishop c5 is much simpler and a bigger threat. I don't really believe this stuff. Knight b3 is there, but I don't think it's that good. Bishop d4 forces the queen this way. Rook d1 forces it back that way. So here knight b3, I guess that's worth a consideration. Kind of surprising, but I think it does work. So we'll do this. Our position looks very good. I think a rook on b4 is correct. He's doing something similar, but ours works better. I think f4 e5 is the way to go. Just making an escape square, but I definitely like f4 e5. And he's in a tough spot because he doesn't want to take that. Not to mention this is hanging, but it's not really any threats here. Rook e8 is very serious. But yeah, we're up a clean piece. The game is over. Nimzo. E5 is definitely the move, but at this point, I think white just has a good position here, like castles, and once you play f3, I feel like the game is over. The light squared bishop has absolutely nowhere to go, like nothing useful anywhere, just biting on all these pawns no matter where it goes, and the dark squares are just killer. So, it's not really anything you can do about that. A lot of knight f6, a lot of Nimzo, not a lot of Queen's Gambit. Whoa. That is an aggro move. What the hell? What just happened? I don't know what just occurred there. Okay. Random game. That was a lot of energy all of a sudden. Looked like it was just building up slow and then, whoa, G5, whoa, F5. And everything exploded. Again, no Queen's Gambit. I didn't know this opening would be so impossibly hard to get. It's like the most common. Okay, you know, we're looking promising for D5 here. Looking promising. Queen's Gambit it is. Say it ain't so. Bishop out? No, he's gonna play the semi-Slav, so let's see. Bishop D6. And there's a few lines to play. One that I kind of like sometimes is E4, mainly because people don't always know how to react to it. You can get some pretty decent positions by putting this queen over here. Okay, bishop E7, like he's tempted to put the knight somewhere, but there's not that many useful squares. For example, that's definitely not a good move. Maybe he wants to castle this way, but that's not even, I don't even think that's very good. I mean, you can do it, but that's just so bad. Let's bring the knight in first. I definitely expect that this one could be played next. Okay, start with h6. Interesting. Castles, I feel like we just take this. And I mean, he can't castle this way because of knight f7. It's not a very good position, is it? Okay, c5. Yeah, I mean, this is a move I'm just gonna immediately play without thinking too much. It makes perfect sense. Haven't got to the bottom of all the calculations, but it looks like it should be correct, and I won't be surprised if it is. So queen here just looks winning. But it's no surprise that it's winning. I mean, yeah, the whole game. So he might want to castle next. So I'm actually going to take this first, I think. And then just take here. We can go better safe than sorry just to get ahead of that. Get the pre-move in, f2 is defended. double the rooks, and we'll maybe sacrifice soon. I think bishop takes a6 next. We'll probably just win. Haven't calculated it all the way, but A looks pretty good. I don't think he's going to take it. GG. Mohammed from Paris. Mohammed de Paris. We got a Queen's Gambit, at least. I like this e4 move just as an attempt. Honestly, if I had more games with the white pieces, I'd love to show like a few different lines, some main lines, some side lines. I like this one because the average player basically plays like this. And you can certainly, like, especially if they do stuff like this and realize what's going on, like, you just win the game already. Like, I've had this position so many times. The only key before you sacrifice is usually need to be castle. Don't always have to be, but it helps a lot for maybe rook lift and to be out of a check. Use your other rook maybe. But the sacrifice on h6 pretty much always wins. Okay, no d5 for us. It looks like another King's Indian, which means boring. You know exactly what we're gonna do. No surprise, right? No surprise. Not gonna hand over the bishop, although you could allow it. Yeah, a6, b4 can be tried. Interesting. Wonder if we need to play knight c1 right away. Let's do it. We could try that, but technically no good. Queen d2 is a bit depressing to play, so let's go ahead and do it. Not the move I was expecting. Let's put the knight here. d5 makes sense, but you are going to end up doubling the pawns there. You can take this one. I guess that's the play. Taking all the pawns, probably not smart. Opens up that, which doesn't look good here. Can we do it with f5 check? I don't know, actually. I don't know. I think this one makes more sense. We could also go knight d8 to ensure that we take the bishop off the board, but something doesn't feel right about that. Maybe rook b6 check if rook c3. Should definitely be a mistake. Both of these moves lose, so we have this one. The rook goes to e5. Another blunder waiting to happen. Oh, maybe draws a fair result. Certainly looked like a pretty good game from start to finish. I love this system. It's just so easy to play against the King's Indian. Sometimes when I'm lazy, even on my main account, I'll just play it. Why not? Just the ideas are like, I don't know, it kind of feels like you're equipped until like move 25 or so with stuff to do, which is a pretty good feeling. Well done. You made it to the end of another episode in the Queen's Gambit speedrun. Make sure to like the video and leave a comment down below if you enjoyed. And if you haven't subscribed, make sure to click that subscribe button and turn on post notifications so you never miss the next episode.